The Trump transition continues tonight with new foreign policy picks and debate over the future of the FBI's directorship. You know, Christopher Wray. Where will he go from here, if at all? Let's talk about it with the author of Rights and Freedoms in Peril, Tom Fitton. I want to share a quick soundbite. This is Kash Patel, a guy that I think a lot of people suspect will be running the FBI fairly soon. Yeah. Maybe, but that's my bet. I want to get your reaction to what he says about what he recalls about the FBI, the DOJ, even the CIA, how they used to operate and what they can be again. Listen to this.
I want them to remember that the FBI, the DOJ, the DOD report to the United States Senate and the United States House of Representatives. And that commitment continues throughout their entire tenure. And I don't want any more Washington speak about we can't talk about this or we can't talk about that. The American people deserve courage and commitment and constitutional oversight. And that's what President Trump is going to deliver.
That's been one of the major criticisms. You and I were just talking about this of Christopher Wray. You can't classify, redact, and sorry, can't talk about this, can't talk about that. You are responsible to the American people. You're responsible to congressional lawmakers, and you need to give them information. We've not been getting very much over the last several years.
No, we were just talking about the assassination attempts on President Trump.
Yeah.
The FBI hasn't released, as best I can tell, because we've sued, one FOIA document in response to our requests for what happened up in Butler, Pennsylvania, let alone what happened subsequently down in Florida. So there's this terrible secrecy around the FBI. And the problem that Christopher Wray has is that he raided Trump's home. Yeah. His agents raided Trump's home.
Yeah.
And he knew or should have known there was no good faith-based reason to target Trump, let alone raid his home. I don't even know how he could look him in the eye, let alone expect to remain as FBI director, just under those narrow sets of circumstances. And as far as I'm concerned, if the FBI is able to the point of the Trump administration should be, in large measure, to make sure that the FBI, to the degree it remains, can't ever do to someone else what they did to Trump.
I think that's fair, and I think it's fair because not only did it completely fly in the face of reasonable expectation of how they would carry out their responsibilities. I think most people feel like there should be some more consideration before you go do some of the things we've seen them do. I want to get your reaction to this. This is from the Times. Headline, Jack Smith closes up shop, defeated more by voters than jurors. It says this. But instead of leaving his post on the heels of a courtroom victory, he is departing after a defeat determined largely at the ballot box. And for all Mr. Smith's efforts to avoid having his work enmeshed in politics, Mr. Trump essentially put the voters between himself and federal prosecutors. I think that's a pretty fair assessment. What say you?
Yeah, I think the voters found Trump, in effect, innocent on Election Day.
They did.
They rejected the lawfare that I've been talking about here. Now, Smith is going to still try to punish Trump on his way out. Even Judge Chutkan, who was the judge handling his case up here in D.C., said, oh, well, by the way, you know, he can bring this case up again after he leaves office, as if that's going to happen. So they'll try to protect their reputations on the way out. But there needs to be serious investigations as to what went on here. I think, you know, if there's a credible issue about whether these abusers, I call them, in the Biden regime and the states, New York and Georgia, abuse their offices to punish Trump for exercising his civil rights.
Yeah.
That's a federal crime, potentially. There needs to be a review of that.
You know, it's interesting. I would never suggest that turnabout is fair play and that retaliation is in order. I thought Megyn Kelly, for example, made a great point about it. But you might be wondering, might that happen? Not because it's the right thing or even a good thing, but because it's the human thing, the way this all went down over the last 4 years plus. I think it's fair to say. Tommy, great to see you, my friend. Happy Friday. And for us, it's not Friday. It's Thanksgiving Eve. It feels like a Friday.
It does feel like a
Have
Friday.
Have a great holiday tomorrow, my friend.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you so much.